This is a News 3 Now special report.
Thanks for watching this special report from Channel 3000. As part of our commitment to covering the virus in a fact-based way, we wanted to put today's headlines all in one place so you can get caught up. We're still waiting to hear the decision from the Wisconsin State Supreme Court on the legality of the state's Safer at Home order. The state legislature filed the lawsuit weeks ago, arguing the secretary-designee at the Department of Health Services exceeded her authority to extend the order. Yesterday, state justices heard both sides of the case. The legislature's attorney argued an administrative agency shouldn't be able to create this broad of an order, which he says exceeds even the governor's powers. DHS lawyers said the law is written to allow DHS to do what it did. We'll have the latest on the decision when it comes down on our newscast, and as always, channel3000.com. There are nearly 8,700 confirmed cases of coronavirus in Wisconsin. There are 8,698 confirmed cases and 353 deaths. Forest County is reporting its first case. Over 4,000 of those cases, or about 48%, have recovered. Yesterday's percentage of new tests that come back positive is down to 9% compared to 11% yesterday. A 14-day downward trend is needed in order for the government to reopen. Although the percentage of new positive cases has gone down, health officials said that it is yet to be a downward trend for 14 consecutive days. Those numbers will be updated in the next hour or so. DHS worked with health professionals to set hospital metrics to be able to move into phase 1 of the Badger Bounce Back plan. The metrics set the following goals. 95% of hospitals can treat all patients without crisis care. 95% of all hospitals have arranged for testing for all symptomatic clinical staff treating patients at the hospital per CDC guidelines, and a downward trend of COVID-19 cases among healthcare workers calculated weekly. Right now, hospitals are seeing a downward trend of COVID-19 cases among healthcare workers. Across the country, coronavirus cases continue to increase, most notably in rural areas. More than 1.2 million people have now been officially diagnosed, and the death toll has surpassed 70,000. 43 states have now partially lifted restrictions, and protesters in other areas are also demanding to reopen. President Trump is pushing back on news reports that the White House coronavirus task force is winding down. He now says it will go on indefinitely, but he says it'll be changing. This comes as new models show opening up states will lead to more deaths from the virus. President Trump tweeted this morning the task force will continue to work on vaccines, while Vice President Pence adds it will also stockpile medical supplies to deal with recurrences of the virus. President Trump was asked about the shortage of supplies.
Don't forget, the cupboard was bare. The other administration, the last administration, left us nothing.
But Dr. Rick Bright, who led the government agency in charge of vaccines, says he raised alarms in January and was ignored. Bright filed a whistleblower complaint alleging he told his superiors that the U.S. was woefully short on N95 masks and suggested putting together a disaster leadership group to address the pandemic. Dr. Bright is now scheduled to testify before the House Energy and Commerce Committee next Thursday to discuss his whistleblower complaint. America's largest automaker, General Motors, intends to reopen its U.S. and Canadian plants on May 18th. GM said it's working with government health officials and the unions on safety measures needed to reopen the plants later this month and operate them safely. Although auto plants have reopened in Asia and Europe, they have largely remained closed in North America. Meanwhile, GM also managed to turn a profit in the first 3 months of the year. Despite the pandemic, the company reported a net income of $294 million. And this has been a special report from Channel 3000.